Okay, everybody, I wanted to show you guys how to do 8.5b. I'm going to go and reset this. I don't know if I've done anything with it, but probably not. I haven't had a chance to look at this really. So I'm going to kind of do this cold turkey, but this shows you how they would have done 8.5a. And it's interesting. But either way, we have this new process, and we are implementing categorized strings 2 into the world. And it's asking us to do a couple of things. And one thing is that we are supposed to divide the strings into those that contain no spaces, one space, or more. After the entry is complete, display the user to enter the type of string for one, one for one-word strings, two for two-word strings, and L for longer strings. Okay, so basically, if it has no spaces, it's a one-word string, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to catch when you input it here. You know how it's before it said if length is greater than or equal to cutoff? Well, now we're just going to count the number of spaces. So we're going to go through the string and we're going to see how many spaces it contains. All right, so let's uh let's do that. Um, well, entry equals quit doesn't equal quit, and short sub plus long sub is less than or equal to max. This is valid. We're gonna say if entry. Now we don't really need this cutoff because that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a how many spaces it contains. So let me just go through and just check every character equals 0. I is less than entry dot length and I plus plus. Okay, I've got that. And then I'm going to say if, so let's first of all set a count variable. So we're going to say space counter equals to 0. We'll think about that in a second. We'll just say int space counter for now. Yeah, we need to set that equal to 0. And really we need to set it equal to 0 at the beginning of the while loop. Yeah, we need to do that. So let's go down here and say space counter equals 0. That's where it needs to be. And then um, if entry dot char at I, why can't I do this? And if you remember our character methods, so we're going to jump into character documentation, class Java documentation, and you can just kind of look at this and you can see that on the help it says that we have a method that tells us basically I'm looking for the is white space method. You can see that right here. Okay, that's deprecated. So is white space is right here. Is white space character. So we're just going to come back over here and we're going to check. So if you look at how this works, character is white space character. So I'm just going to say character dot is white space entry char at I. If it is white space, then we're going to space counter. We're going to set space counter. We're going to dec increment space counter. So space counter plus plus. All right, so now if space counter. All right, so now we need one word strings, two word strings, and longer strings. And longer strings to run this correctly. Okay, so now we have short sub plus long sub plus. So now we need one, we'll just say one word sub plus two word sub plus longer sub. And then we're going to come up here and do that. We're going to say one word, two word, and longer. All right. And then we're going to say int longer sub equals 0. All right, so there we go. If space counter is equal to 0, then we're going to add this to one word strings, right? Actually, that's correct. And then we're going to pass this into one word sub. And then next one is going to be two word strings equals entry. So we'll just copy this down. We'll come down here and say this. There we go. Else one word. It's going to be two word strings because it has at least one space. So plus plus two word sub space counter equals 1. We got a two word sub. Else we're gonna add it to longer subs, right? So we're gonna come in here and say longer sub, just. Or longer strings, right? Longer strings. And that's going to equal longer sub. And then this is going to be plus plus longer sub. Then here we're going to say one word sub, two word sub. Right, if I don't exactly know why we're doing this, but I guess either way. Okay, so we got that here. So do you want to see a list of short strings or long strings? Do you want to see the, now we're going to just copy this over. Do you want to see that? The list of one word strings. So we're going to make it like this. And then we're going to say, please enter this, or so we're going to just say, please enter OT or L, instead of what they have here. So copy this over. Okay, and then basically we're going to copy this down here. Yeah. Okay, that has the new. Let's just make this all come back nicely. Okay. Enter OTA, OTL, or Q to quit. Obviously, if entry.substring 01 equals, we'll say O, then display one word strings. And one word sub. And then we'll say 2-word strings, and 2-word sub. Then we're just going to change this to else if, and we'll make this go T. Alright, there we go. We're going to change this to T. And then we're going to say else, and we will display the longer sub. Alright, so we're going to come down here, type that over, space out one more time. Longer strings and longer sub. Alright. We'll say why this doesn't equal quit. Okay, and that's that ZZZ. Into max. Max is 0. Okay. So, yeah. Alright. So let me go ahead and run this and see if how many errors I get. Because I kind of did that pretty fast. If character. It's saying something is expected on is white space. Let's look at that white space. See if I'm missing a parenthesis. Let's go ahead and run it again. Alright. It's read out length because if you go to line 26, I did not put in that. Alright. And then it says character is white space. It's a character passed into white space. It's telling me variable of type cannot find symbol entry dot char at I. Character is white space. Just making sure real quick. Is white space. Ah, I capitalized the S for no reason. That's why it's cool to check documentation. Okay, so now we have this. All right, so type this correct. Oh, darkest night ever, and then they ran into a fuzzy squirrel. That toiled them the meaning of life. ZZZ. One word. 2 word. L. ZZZ. Alright, cool. Let's just go ahead and hit our checks and see how we do. And I think we'll be okay, I hope. No, we're not okay. Let's see what it's doing. Once in a blue moon. Blue moon moon. Show details. Expected output. Blue moon moon. And they got blue moon moon. So, what are you looking for, bro? Got a 75. That 75 looks pretty nice right now, actually. But let's just make sure what we're doing wrong. Once in a blue moon, we're looking for. We were not expecting. What were you expecting? Expected output. Okay. Let's just see something real quick. It's either O, it's either T, or it's a L. Let's just change this to on this side. Let's go ahead and make this if it equals O, if it equals T, else. If we'll just make this L and see if that's what it's looking for. Alright. And we'll go from there. Okay. Let's just run it. Run those checks again. See what we get. Expected output. Still not passing that check. B and ZZZ. Okay, what is it expecting? It's expecting say an expected blue moon. And it got none of that. Okay. Let's go ahead and take that back off. And just make this else. And run the checks again because okay. So now expected output blue moon moon. And it's getting I'm gonna pause the video real quick so you guys I'll come back in a second. Okay, you might have already noticed this, but the program actually said if the user does not enter one of the three valid choices, display all of the strings. So this isn't wrong. But I do need to display all of the strings. Else display all strings. So else we will just display one word strings. We'll try it this way first. Word strings, two word strings, and longer strings. Okay, once we do that, let's run the checks and see what we get. All right. That seems like not how I would like to do it, but, and now it doesn't do this, and I'm not sure why. Oh. Oh, because this else statement needs brackets. That's why I don't like to do this without brackets. You know, I mean, this is something that Cengage is doing in this curriculum, but I don't like that. So we're going to go and fix this because if you don't add brackets and you add something later, it always tends to do that. So let's go ahead and do this, okay? And that should fix this problem. All right. So I'm going to run the checks one last time. And I think we're good to go. All right, 4 out of 4 checks passed. We are good on 8.5B. Sorry it took 20 minutes.